What is up, guys? This is Pinzo back with another video today, and what I have for you guys is what I'm kind of calling like a state of the game of Predecessor video. That's what we're going with. I didn't really know what to title this. I figured that would get the point across. We're just kind of going to be talking about Pred a little bit today. I'm going to go through a couple things first, and then it'll probably just be me talking through my talking points as probably some gameplay plays in the back or something like that. This is where I wanted to start. First of all, the reason I'm doing this is mostly because we haven't done a Predcast. A lot of this is stuff that would be talked about on Predcast, but we haven't done one in like a month or more. So I wanted to do this because I want to talk about the game. I like talking about Predecessor. I like playing Predecessor, right? Like this is what I do. So I wanted to talk about it a little bit because I know a lot of people have been doom posting and super shitting on it and all that kind of stuff. And I just want to I just kind of want to start the discussion. You know, that's really where we're at. Like, this is where it started 2 days ago. I made a post, and again, this was just supposed to be a discussion post of what you like, dislike. I know a lot of people are, again, pretty low on the positivity train around Predecessor right now. This post, you guys can go look through this if you want. It has like 100 comments on it. And you guys 150. So you guys can go look through that if you want. I put a bunch of these into talking points that we will get through because a lot of them did say very similar things. This is the one other thing I want to look at before we start, which is the Predecessor Steam charts. Obviously, it was pretty low for most of last year. Goes up when console comes out. This is when PlayStation, Xbox fully released. Goes up there, goes down into the summertime. Games are always lower in the summertime, so this is pretty expected, in my opinion. And then Gamescom trailer, right? August 20th, excuse me, the 20th is when the Gamescom trailer was released at Gamescom, hence Gamescom trailer. And we saw a spike from that. Obviously, spikes went on the weekend when more people are playing, then spikes on patches, stuff like that as it goes on. Yes, this is going down, right? This is lifetime Predecessor, right? It's going down. We're still higher than we were, you know, last year, same time, but it is going down. Am I worried? We'll get to that. So that's what I want to talk about first. These are going to be a bunch of my talking points in this video. I went for positives and complaints instead of pros and cons because it's not, I don't think pros and cons quite describes it properly. Double-edged swords. These are things that are good and bad. Just general feedback, other talking points. And this is what I'm going to be working off of for a lot of this video. So with that said, I'm going to give you guys some gameplay and we're going to talk through a bunch of this. And again, this is supposed to be a discussion, guys. So please, of course, leave your thoughts in the comments. I do want to hear all of your guys' thoughts. That should go without saying, but it's a discussion. Keep it civil, please. If you are high on the Pred train, awesome. If you're low on the Pred train, awesome. Just like, again, it's a discussion, guys. It's a discussion. So first thing, we'll start with the positives. I think I've heard complaints about the balance on that post again that I posted. A lot of people complained about the balance. I think the balance of the game is pretty good, to be honest. I think the overall balance is quite good, which is why you see small patches so often in terms of gameplay changes, in terms of balance changes. They're often quite small because generally speaking, this game's pretty balanced. There's only like 35 heroes in the game, so I would kind of expect it to be balanced, to be truthful with you guys, but it is. The biggest point is going to be that the game is fun. Nobody would play it if it wasn't fun, period, right? Like at some point, you guys do think the game is fun if you guys are still playing it. There's really not a good explanation otherwise. So yeah, I think we can all kind of agree that at least some of the time, most of the time, maybe some of the time for some people, right? It is a fun game. So with that said, the last point on the positives, I put this in air quotes. This is nostalgia. I think this is a negative. Some people think this is a positive. Me personally, for those of you that don't know my background, I probably total had 25 hours in Paragon. Didn't play the game a whole lot. That wasn't my thing. I didn't have a computer that could run it. I didn't have a console. I didn't play it. I played Smite and I played Paladins while Paragon was alive. Those were my two games. So with that said, I don't really have nostalgia for Paragon. I play Pred because I think the game is good. A lot of people will say, right, why do you like Pred? oh, well, it makes it feel like I'm playing Paragon again. And I think that that's a super double-edged sword, because I think Paragon as a game had a lot of issues, and I think Ometa can solve them. Like, again, for me, the main one is going to be Heroes, which we will get to in the negative section, in the complaints section. But yeah, the nostalgia thing, whether or not you think that's good, it is good short-term, long-term. I think it could bite them in the ass. We'll see. Moving into negatives, guys, this is obviously going to be a bigger section. Keep in mind, people talk about the negatives of a game a lot more than they talk about the positives. A lot of people, especially if you play Pred, you kind of know what the positives are, right? The game feels good to play. It's smooth. You know, the heroes are fun. You enjoy the game. All those are, like, people don't really talk about that stuff. A lot of people talk about complaints, so that's why I have so many more of these to go over. So the first complaint that I saw the most was that there's not enough heroes in the game. And I completely agree. There's like 38 heroes in the game. If you look at any other MOBA, there's a bajillion. I mean, there's like a 1,000 characters in Dota 2. There's 500 in League of Legends, and there's 250 in Smite, right? Again, all exaggerations, but point being, way more heroes in all the other games. And the comparison I would draw is Smite 2. Smite 2 released with, or came into alpha with 25 or 30 heroes. They've already added 4 or 5 more, or 6 more maybe. I think they're doing them in 2s. I think that that's cool. And again, obviously, Smite 2 has a basis to work off of. They're just porting heroes from Smite 1 into Smite 2. But that sounds really familiar, doesn't it? Doesn't it, guys? Doesn't that sound super duper familiar? Porting characters from one game into a remake of the same game, it's just made on a new engine. Doesn't that sound familiar, guys? Again, that's half jest. I'm only 50% kidding, because it is, right? Like, there were 35 heroes in Paragon or something like that. Maybe, is that right? 35, if you count Boris, I think. And the fact that we've had 2 years and we don't have all of them in the game yet, for me, is disappointing. I think it's really slow. Map and balance changes. This is, again, in the complaint section. I think the game balance is really good. I know a lot of people just complain about it because their favorite hero is bad, right? Your favorite hero is Revenant, and you're upset that he is bad in the game. I think the overall balance is good. Don't care about that one. Map changes. I do think the map should change. I don't think we will get a map change until they drop PlayStation 4. We got the news, at the beginning of the summer, maybe? We got the news 3 months ago that PlayStation 4 will be discontinued. In like January of next year, they will drop PlayStation 4 and you won't be able to play Pred on PlayStation 4 anymore. And I don't think we'll get a new map until then. I think that is what's holding them back. I think we will get a new map next year. That would be my guess. I don't know when next year. It could be at the end of next year. They could have one ready for the beginning of next year. Who knows, right? But that's my guess, is we won't get one while PlayStation 4 is in the system. Next one. This is ranked rewards is the next thing on my list. Ranked rewards are something that I talk about a lot because I've talked about it a little on stream. Don't know if you guys have heard it on YouTube, if you guys are YouTube watchers. Ranked feels like there's no reason to be playing, right? At least for me. Again, this isn't for everybody, but I've hit Paragon. I don't know what I got up to on the leaderboard. I got up to like number 10 on the leaderboard or so, right? Why play is the question, right? There's no ranked rewards. You don't really get anything for playing ranked. Better matches, air quotes, we'll get to matchmaking. But, right, like, there's no real reason to play. They have talked about rank rewards. They've said that you will, I believe it was in a roadmap or a blog post a while ago, they said that they are going to do ranked rewards based on your highest rank of the season and your finishing rank of the season. So we'll see what those are. We have no idea what they are. We also have no idea when we'll get them. So I do think that that's a little bit of a bummer, but at the end of the day, it's just one of those things where it's like, I wish we knew. More items. Again, similar to Heroes, I want more items. I think the build diversity in the game is maybe a little low for a couple of classes. For some classes, I think it's good. For tanks, bruisers, etc., even supports, I think that build diversity is pretty good. For carries specifically, I think there is little to no build diversity. which is, again, I will say, asterisk, when people figure out the meta, you will build the best 6 items every game. That is how it works. But it feels like the best 6 items have been the best 6 items for the last, year, right? Outside of the 2 patches where Stormbreaker Sky Splitter was really, really ridiculous, that was the only time in the last year when crit hasn't been the only thing you can build, and you just build crit every game. I think it's a little boring. I would like to, and maybe that's a meta issue. Maybe they need to make bigger balance changes. Honestly, I'm not sure. But more items would not hurt that issue. Same with mid lane, very similar. You just kind of build the best 6 items every game because you're a damage class. Mid is slightly better. I think they've gotten more changes to their builds over the last year, but it is still, I would call it stale. The next one, this is just like overarching. This is 6-week patches. The game is slow. They're slow to do their thing, and when we get 6-week patches, it feels like they're small. That's just kind of how it is. I don't have the reasoning on this one. Just kind of how it is. It felt like we went from 4-week patches to 6-week patches, and we got the same amount of stuff in 6 weeks that we used to get in 4 weeks. It's a bummer for them to slow it down, but at the end of the day, I can't do anything about that. It truly is just something that's out of my hands, which sucks, but it is what it is. Monetization. This one, I have mixed feelings about. I know a lot of people really hate the monetization in the game. I think a lot of people think skins are way too expensive, stuff like that, right? A lot of people will make the argument they're ported over from Paragon. Why are the skins so expensive? There's some gray area in there with like valuing assets that were made by a different company, stuff like that, that makes it a little more complicated than you would think it is. For me personally, I was against the monetization. I did not like it until the Undertow skins. I think the Undertow skins were phenomenal. I think the Xeris, Fang Mao, and the Gideon ones, right? Obviously, Gideon skin came from Paragon. I believe that the animations were new, but I could be incorrect. Anyway, even just talking about the original ones, Fang Mao, Richter, Undertow skins, the legendary ones, they're phenomenal. They're really, really good. Sound effects are good. Visual effects are really good. All that kind of stuff. They're really good. Those skins, I think, are worth the price tag they're asking for them. The other skins, you look at skins like legendary Revenant Ice King skin, right? Or even the new Steel skin, the Doomsday skin. I think those skins are not worth the price tag. They are listed as legendary. I don't think they're worth the price tag. That's where my issue comes in. I think the skins are good. I don't think they're worth the same amount as those Undertow skins. That's where my issue lies. Not necessarily what they're asking for, but like the product quality to price point is not matching up, right? The Revenant skin, in my opinion, should be a 1600 skin. Same with the Steel skin. Like that would be, in my opinion, a better place to put those skins. The Twin Blast skin, the Summer Fun skin, that's a good skin. That can be 2400. Right. It's just that's my only issue with monetization. I don't care how much they're asking for the skins as long as the skins are worth what they're asking for, if that makes sense. Next one, small one, UI. I know a lot of people don't like the UI, whether it's like you don't like the main menu or whether or not you don't like the hero select menu. I think they're both satisfactory. The hero select menu, I think, is worse than the last one, but I don't think it's significantly worse. And again, I've played the game for 2 years. Like maybe I was just super used to the old one and I haven't gotten used to the new one yet. That's an option, right? I don't like it quite as much. Maybe it's way better for new players. I honestly am not sure. Big one, tutorial. Tutorial in the game sucks. Period. Everybody knows it. There's no levels of AI matches. You can't play like an easy AI match, a medium AI match, and a hard AI match, which would, again, it would help getting new players into the game, get them used to clicking their buttons, playing against people who aren't literally standing still and letting you hit them, that kind of thing. Daily, weekly quests / battle pass would be really nice. Daily quests for like Amber, stuff like that. Weekly quests for Amber would be good for new players. Again, I have like 100,000 Amber left over, right? Like I don't have anything, I don't have a need for it, but it would be really nice for new players. I do get that. Battle pass, I love battle passes. Personally, I think battle passes are sick. I play games a lot, so I usually get the full value out of them, which means that they're good bang for your buck. You know, if it's a $10 battle pass and if you max it out, you get $20 worth of value. you got your money's worth, right? You put a couple of good skins in there, some other stuff, sprays, stuff like that, and you're good to go. Let's see. 24/7 ranked is another one. It's not here. We have ranked for a little over 50% of the time each day, but it's not 24/7 yet. I know a lot of people complain about that. Again, this one, luckily, this one doesn't really affect me. I play during the ranked hours, but I know that a lot of people don't get to do that, and that is truly a bummer. But I don't know. I'm guessing they have a plan. I don't really have an idea on this one. I don't have an input, to be honest. And then the big two complaints, I saved the biggest ones for last. Matchmaking. Matchmaking has been a very divisive subject in the community since Ranked came out. A lot of people think that they should be playing with people who are way better than the teammates they are getting. And I don't necessarily disagree. I think that it gets overblown a fair amount, I will say. But I will say, again, in Paragon lobbies, right? I'm in Paragon. I queue kind of at weird times. I queue during the day. I start queuing about 2 Eastern when the lobbies go live. So there's not a lot of people playing. I do get a fair amount of gold players in my game, right? Like gold players playing against Paragon players. It's wonky. The matchmaking can be a little funky. The reasoning, and I can kind of explain this one, at least to the best of my ability. The reasoning behind that is that you are not match made based on your visible rank. You are match made based on your hidden MMR. Your MMR behind the scenes goes up, down when you win, lose, different from your rank. And the higher your MMR is above your rank, the more VP you gain within that rank, because it tries to even out your MMR and your VP together to where they should be the same. The issue with this is that you can't see your MMR. If you win 20 games in a row on a brand new account, then yeah, your hidden MMR is going to be pretty high. You'll be in silver, but you'll probably be playing against, plat diamond players. That's how it goes. There are 2 solutions to this, in my opinion. So solution number 1 isn't really like a solution. This is just what would make it feel better. And that's just show the MMR. This is something Smite did a long time ago. I don't know how it is in League of Legends, but Smite, 5 years ago, the same issue is going on. And what they did was just make your MMR visible. Like, there's no real reason for it to be hidden. And they just made it visible so you can see it. You can see where you're being match made. Your visible rank might be silver, but you can see that your MMR is diamond. So you're going to be in diamond lobbies. Right, it makes it easier as a player to understand, okay, this is why this player is in my game. Or this is why I'm in this game. I feel like I shouldn't be here, right? That's just a readability standpoint. The other option is to make people jump ranks. Right now it takes about 10 games to get out of bronze. If you win 10 games in a row, you'll be into silver. If I win all 10 of my games in bronze, I should not get promoted from bronze 1 to silver 3, in my opinion. I should get promoted from bronze 1 to like gold 3. I should skip silver. I won 10 games in a row. My hidden MMR is going to be, plat diamond at that point. So why do I have to grind through silver when I should be getting, it should jump me further to even out the MMR visible rank sooner. Those are my 2 solutions. Whether or not they are feasible or doable or whatever, right? That's Ometa's decision. In my opinion, those 2 things would make a world of difference for ranked. As far as standard matchmaking goes, I don't think it really matters. It's casual queue. Of course, the matchmaking is going to be a little looser. I think that's fine. I don't really play casual queues very much, so I wouldn't really know. But yeah, it's the ranked matchmaking thing. I think it's well overblown, but I think there is issues with it. And then the last big complaint, before we get into some just kind of final talking points, the last big complaint is hero design. And this one is, I hear this less from like average or lower ranked players, but from pretty much anyone who plays PCC, you guys will hear this a lot. You'll hear characters called, Mickey characters. I use that term a lot. Mickey Mouse characters, right? Stuff like that. Baby's first MOBA character. It's, the hero design in the game is very simple. And the issue is not with Ometa, actually. This one I will give, this is not really their fault. This is an issue with Paragon and the community in Predecessor. Those are the main 2 issues here. It's an issue with Paragon because Paragon was a MOBA that came out in like 2016 or whatever, right? That's like 8 years ago. The quality of MOBA heroes 8 years ago was drastically different, right? It was lower quality, right? A lot of the Paragon heroes are very, very basic. They are incredibly basic. A character like Steel, right? You can't get a whole lot more, or Narbash, right? You can't get a whole lot more basic than that. And the issue lies when those characters are good, right? Especially like right now, picture right now. It's like tank meta. Steel's a very good hero. You can be a really bad player and you can still play Steel pretty well, right? His skill ceiling is quite low. His skill floor, his entry point is also very low. So like you don't have to be super good to maximize Steel. And that kind of issue, in my opinion, leads to it dumbs down the game quite a bit. And again, for me personally, I would love to see the majority, truthfully, of Paragon heroes completely reworked, like at least strong reworks. Give them 2-3 new abilities, make their kits harder to use, not necessarily harder to use, maybe more dynamic is the word I'm looking for. Because the Ometa original heroes are actually pretty good. It's clear that Ometa has the skills to do this. We haven't seen the new one yet, Skylar, right? We don't know what she does. But Kira is very basic, but it was their first try. I'll give it to them on that one. They get one freebie. I can get that far. Xeris, a cool hero design. Whether or not you think he's just Pantheon or Jarvis or whoever the league character is that Xeris has abilities from or whatever, I think his kit is fun to use. I think it has multiple ways to like outplay. It has again, it is dynamic. You can flash while you're holding your Q, you can dash while you're holding it. You can throw his spear, you can thrust his spear. I think it's a pretty cool kit all around. And then I think they nailed it with Argus. I think Argus is a sweet hero. He has a pillar that can block movement. He has a stun that you can throw really far, right? You can throw it over things. Right click, like secure damage. And then he has a snipe ultimate, of course, which is just like, blind snipes through walls, whether or not you know where people are going, that kind of thing. I think Argus's kit is dynamic. That is a word I would use. I think it takes some skill to use him, at least at the higher levels. And I think it's good. So it's clear, in my opinion, that Ometa can make these dynamic, these harder to use heroes. They're stuck, and this is where the Paragon community part of the problem comes in. They're stuck on nostalgia. They have to market to nostalgia because that's what's keeping the game afloat, and it sucks, in my opinion. I think that's terrible. I think it really, really hurts Ometa. It doesn't let them flex their creative muscles, because if they release who are the heroes left? Wukong, Boris, Yin. If they released Yin and she didn't have her because she had a reflect, I believe, in Paragon. Her ultimate was like a tornado that reflected projectiles. If they released her and she didn't have that reflect, can you imagine what Reddit would look like? Can you imagine what the Discord would look like when they released her and said, yeah, we took away her reflect? People would be pissed, right? And it sucks because they do kind of like the whole game is kind of nostalgia bait, but they have to play to it because otherwise people will leave or be mad, right? I mean, it stinks. But I would really like to see a lot of the Paragon heroes down the line get reworked. I think it would be really good for the game. So if you have questions, of course, about any of these talking points, let me know. That one in particular, let me know. Moving into the last couple little chat points here. Communication from Ometa is something that's come up quite a bit. Do they communicate not enough? I think yes. I think that this is a double-edged sword because the last time that they tried to give us like because I believe Paragon did like community corner where the devs would just kind of chat about stuff. And the last time they tried to do something like that was like a year ago now. And they just got clowned on. The community hated it. They just clowned all over the guys at Ometa who were doing this little community corner. And I think it was really tragic because I think that those are a really good idea. I would love to see those come back. But at the end of the day, if the community is just going to be little rats about the way that they're presenting it, then yeah, dude, of course they're not going to do it anymore. So that one sucks because I would love those to come back. I think blog posts are a good interim, but I think community corners are sweet and I would love to see them come back. The community apparently doesn't want that. They ask for communication, then they complain about the way they get it. It's a bummer. My last couple talking points. Number one is going to be full launch Gamescom. What happened? So for those of you that don't know what happened, I will give you the story. For those of you that saw the Gamescom trailer and were disappointed and don't know why, the Gamescom trailer that Ometa showed was not what they wanted to show. It was what they were forced to show. They outsourced the creation of a trailer to another company that they were going to make a trailer for Pred to show at Gamescom. And that company got back to Ometa like 10 days, 2 weeks, I don't know the timeline, but shortly before Gamescom. And the product that they gave Ometa was not up to standard. It was not good enough. And Ometa said, we're not showing this. This isn't a good trailer. So they made someone from Ometa make a trailer. And it was a lot of cut together pieces from trailers that we'd already seen. If you guys had been following Pred, you'd already seen a lot of that. And it did not go super well, which is a bummer. It sucks. It didn't, like, if you watched the Gamescom live, a lot of the chat during that time was like snoozer emotes, that kind of thing, right? And it didn't go super hot, which sucks. And yeah, so we are technically full release on Pred, but nothing really changed. Nothing happened. We got a little boost to new players, but not really, right? Not a huge boost. And so it's one of those that's like, why are we full release? Does this game feel like it should be full release? Like, in my opinion, probably not. But it's also been almost 2 years since we entered early access. Like, how could it not be ready for full release, right? Are we pulling a Star Citizen here? What are we doing? You know, that kind of thing. I mean, there's so many arguments you can make for it that you can kind of choose your stance as you wish. Me personally, I don't think it was ready for full release, but I think that they had a decision to make, right? I mean, Smite 2 was coming out, stuff like that, right? They had to either rip it or kind of sit in the shadows, and I don't think there was a really right call. I think they did what they thought was best. It just kind of didn't work. So moving forward, when will Pred get, like, the question is, when does Pred get the boost that they need to jump into, like, the spot of being a competitive with the other MOBAs, right? Being competitive against, you know, Smite or League or Deadlock or whatever, right? When do they get that boost, and how will that happen? Good question. I don't know. And then the last point that I want to talk about is just these other MOBAs, right? Smite 2, we'll talk about first. Is Smite 2 stealing Pred's player base? No, it's not. I will tell you that. Smite is not also stealing Pred's player base. That's not really how it works. In MOBAs specifically, people are really, really attached to the MOBA that they play. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One of them is just like the knowledge that it takes to be good at a MOBA. You have to know what all the heroes do so you can counter all the heroes and all that kind of stuff. And learning a new MOBA is really daunting. So no, people who play Pred pretty much play Pred and they don't play those other MOBAs. That's kind of how it works, at least, again, for the vast majority of people. The better conversation is whether or not Deadlock is stealing all of Predecessor's players. Obviously, Deadlock is the new kid on the block. Cool game, I guess. I like the concept. Personally, I don't enjoy Deadlock. I think the game, in my opinion, it feels a little bit cheesy. I think that it doesn't feel like a MOBA. I think that the laning phase is too short. There aren't enough MOBA elements in it. I think that the idea behind the game is really good, and I think that alone will garner players towards it. But then again, it makes you think, like, is the idea behind Predecessor also not quite good? A third-person shooter MOBA? That's also pretty good, right? But that's a kind of what Deadlock is, and I think that scratches the itch for a lot of people that maybe would have been Pred players at some point. Again, I think Deadlock's a cool game. I don't really like it. If you guys like it, sick. I do think that Deadlock is stealing some Pred players. I think that that's kind of an inevitability. I think that that will calm down a little bit because as an esport, will Deadlock succeed? I think Deadlock will have a hard time succeeding as an esport because the map is so big. It's 6v6. It's just kind of hard to follow from a spectator POV. So I don't know. I think it has hurdles to climb to become a good esport. And I think that right now, the way the games work, either you're a single player game or if you're a multiplayer game, you really need esports to keep your game going. And that's another thing that I think Pred could do is sponsor a tournament, right? We have PCC 9 coming up in like 2 weeks, and then PCC 10 at the end of the year. And I think it'd be sick if Pred sponsored it or did something with it, interacted with it in any way. It'd be cool. But yeah, that's kind of it. So I just wanted to talk about this again. I mostly just wanted to start a discussion about is the game as bad as people think that it is? Me personally, again, guys, listen, here's the thing. I wouldn't play the game every single freaking day if I didn't enjoy it, right? I'll just be honest with you. If I didn't enjoy the game, guess what? I would play something else, guys. I would go play Smite, or I would try to learn Deadlock or something, right? I would go do something else. I enjoy the game enough to play it for many hours every day. I think the game has a lot that it can do to be better. I think it has a lot to change to secure success in the future. But as of now, I think the game's fun. So again, I'm curious on all your guys' thoughts. Let me know down in the comments below. I tried to make this not too rambly. This is the second time I recorded this, and the first one was like 45 minutes. So this one's half an hour. Hopefully it's not too rambly. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know what your thoughts are. Again, I just want to start the discussion, guys. I think that the Doom posting is a little out of control. I think that it's a little overblown. So I wanted to give you guys my perspective. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, comment, subscribe. But as always, I've been Pinzo. This video's done, Zo. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next one.